All right, hey guys, Sam here. We're mid-morning, October 31st, and Bitcoin just continues to amaze. So let's take a look at it and see if there's any opportunities here for us. Now I've got the 4-hour up here on Bitstamp that we've been using, and you can see I'm gonna have to get some of this off screen so we can see it. Now, I think we have a good count on this, and we had been evaluating yesterday as to whether or not this was a 1-2 or we had a triangle for a CDE. I think that is the more likely count here with this as our significant low. And we can see now, in fact, I drew this little box here that we're approaching. I drew this yesterday, and we can see we're starting to approach those levels here where we have this nice clustering effect. If I can get it to highlight, apparently it's not going to let me. So let's look at that. Why do we have this clustering? There it is. So let's open that up. So let me pull that off here. Okay, so now we can see it. Okay, so if we work from Elliott aside, if we work from this swing low, we've got this negative 23 here. So pardon me. So it's back one. So from what I have labeled as the A to this B for the irregular flat that we have here down to our C, and we just, again, Elliott aside, we look at that swing to this, we went just shy of the 786, so we've got this negative 23 sitting here at 64.57. Now we look at the D wave projected from the E, or this pivot low to this pivot high from here where we go exactly to the 50. Now we have that negative 23 sitting right here at what do we got there? That's at 82. And then we've got the 100% on the maroon here. So if I take this swing projected from this low, we've got the 100% alternate price projection, as I call them, giving us this little cluster here. Now we are in between the dominant pitchfork. This is the 100 and the 200, but we have the 1.5 here, so potentially that's some structure for us. It wouldn't surprise me that we see a little bit of a reaction here. These are algo targets that likely will lead to some profit taking. Now yesterday we had looked at possibly an entry here on the median line, and we're going to have to just pull this up. We're still looking for that as a place to get long, but we're going to likely go down to a smaller time frame to see if we can get a better entry timing on that, and it would reduce our risk a bit. So just be aware of where you are when you are considering, when you go down to the smaller time frames. Keep some context as to where you are with the 4-hour targets and those pulls, and defer to them. As right now, with this as the dominant 50 here, and this is the target. You want to defer to that because algos are going to push to try and get to that. Now we have higher targets, of course, but what we're looking for, if you're not long, and I'm kind of speaking with the assumption that you're looking to add or get into a fresh long, right here, well, this is very likely we're in an impulsive structure here. So we're waiting for that opportunity to see some sort of a retracement that's meaningful. Where so far they've been very shallow. At least this was shallow, and we're looking for an opportunity to catch a return to the median line. Is that's likely at some point here as we continue to move higher. Some of these targets up here, we got to keep moving them over as the market keeps rolling. So let's go down to the smaller time frame. Now let's start with the hourly, where we can kind of be systematic about how we approach this. So working from now this low here where we think we've got a DE, it would appear that we've got good subdivision here to show us a 5-wave impulsive structure into a 1 high. The surprise, and maybe it shouldn't be considering how strong Bitcoin is the shallowness of the wave 2. Now, it's not unheard of. It's about a 15% probability that a wave 2 will stall at the 38, but it does it. We were looking to get long at the 50 from yesterday's video, and it just doesn't give it to us. It's just too strong. So we'd have to, at this point, label that as a shallow 2, and it be anticipating third wave structure up here. We've got some, substantial targets. Minimum target, right? We know this. Minimum target, if we have this right, if this is a 1-2, well, at least we've got to go 100% of the one wave, which is right here, this in maroon. If I wiggle it, you see as I pull that down to the 2 low, get it right on it, you can see that we get this cluster. So we've got the negative 100% from this swing low. We've got the 618 from this swing to this retracement to the 50. We've got that negative 618, an extreme algo target. And then we've got the 100% of what we have currently labeled as the as the one wave. And that gives us our 100% target, so we can qualify this as a third wave. And it doesn't actually qualify until we get there. So likely target here. Now, if we put that in the context of where we are on the 4 hour, we'd be pushing through the highs we just looked at on the 4 hour. So this is where you have to consider what time frame are you trading on. So if you're making your entries off of the 4 hour, then you want to be watching those targets. If you're working off the 1 hour here because you're trying to fine tune a bit, well, now your targets are, you're to and through the first target, which was the negative 23. So having gone through that, and we're making the assumption that that's a third wave, well, the most likely candidate is up here at the 1618 to the 175. And that plays rather nicely with this median line. But before we can even talk about that, we got to get here to qualify it relative to what we have labeled as a one wave. So expectation is that we're going to get there. Now, we look to here in Bitcoin, you can go to the 15-minute because there's so much volume and it's trading so technically. If we're going to get here, which, so what we're calling that 6580, if we're going to get there, well, likely there'll be smaller retracements along the way. I mean, with Bitcoin, you could go straight to it. But let's look at the 15-minute and see if we can find any opportunity to get into a fresh long. So now as I look at it here, this is what we have labeled as our one wave. This was the very shallow 2 that you can see subdivided into. We got a beautiful ABC there. And there was some question mark yesterday as I was watching this that the possibility was there for that to be the A. We had what appeared to be, well, at least here, it looked like we had a 3-wave B, and that's why we were looking to be getting long here down where we had this structure, this previous high offering that support, and we had an entry. We were trying to get long here at the edge of the pitchfork. Doesn't give it to us. We get a shallow 2-wave, but we do get that nice ABC, and then we can carve out a 5-wave leading diagonal here for a 1-wave, and then again we get a shallow 2. But note how it comes right, Vegas wave. See how good that's been. So we get a shallow 2, yet again just showing you the strength of the market, and then we rip higher, and look, we go right to the median line. Now take note, right, this is all relative to the scale that we're on. So now we're on a 15-minute, and we've popped the median line just perfectly. So on this time frame, if we're looking to get long, well, potentially, we have a reasonable potential that the third wave is in. We don't know for sure yet, but that's reasonable location. So let's look at it in the context of projecting from our 1 high to our 2 low. Well, we're to and through the targets on this scale. We're through the 2618. So really, at this point, you've got to go to a higher time frame because you're beyond the projection here for this to be meaningful. So beyond the 2618, we got to look at a higher time frame to get that projection. So now we can look at it. We can use the structure to say, okay, potentially this is our third wave. So if we're looking for fresh longs, again, just simple statistics here. The most probable entry or retracement, I could say, for the fourth wave would be the 38.2 to the 50. And then we have this nice structure here of this, what we have potentially as our wave 1 high to offer some support here should we go a little bit deeper on this. So entry would be right here with no reason to, certainly no reason to take it beyond the 65. So if we do get the gift of a little pullback here before we just, keep rolling, because nothing says a wick of the median line means we have to stop and retrace to the outside edge. It just means that the market is pausing there. Algos use that, so you're as we looked at on the 4-hour, you're very close to some profit targets. You're wicking the median line here on the 15-minute. Algos love the 15-minute. They use it certainly across most asset classes. So likely you've got a little pause here, and then it's a reevaluation as to whether or not we're going to come back down here. We know algos will load up again on the 50 here, but there's been several here. Well, look, so if algos were waiting for the 50 here, they didn't get it. So they use some different things that I won't go into in this video. For us, we're looking for the next retracement that gives us some decent structure. Now look here how good this ABC was. So we want to see that, we want to see that continue so that we're not just jumping on the first retracement that's an A wave. Look how you'd have been in and out relatively quickly, even though you get a little pop there. We just put in a B and then down comes the C. So no reason to anticipate that we're going to not get that kind of subdivision on the 15-minute. So we wait for it and see, again, we can't really call that high in just yet because we haven't had a deep enough retracement to qualify it as a third. We can just look at this reaction. We can, here's an example where you can look at your oscillators and say, okay, well, clearly this here, we look at the height here, this was the third of this move, and now we're looking at potentially what is the third of this wave. So it's very consistent. We look now for, we want to see some sort of a little subdivision to give us some sort of an A, B, C, to give us that kind of pocket. So if I put it, so this is what I'll do. I will put that on the side of my chart. I know, so I don't forget what I'm looking for. So I want to see that. So then I just pull it off to the side. And I go, can I get that? That's my potential roadmap. I want it down here. Can I get there in this kind of subdivision? That's not a bad idea. So because a common mistake, the people that are using this methodology, they get excited about it. They see the retracement straight down. They think, oh, I'm going to jump on it. Maybe it goes to the 382. But you don't get the subdivision. And on a 15-minute, you'd want to see it. And we can see looking back, most of these corrections have had great technical subdivision. So no reason to anticipate that to not continue, until it proves otherwise. So you look for it. So potential target for the A wave would be the 38. Maybe we get that. Maybe that's all we're going to get here. We just don't know. So you just got to wait patiently for it. There's no reason to force a trade. You don't want to let the FOMO get a hold of you. That's what you're looking for. Now you wait to see if it'll offer it to you. Otherwise, you continue to wait and not chase, because chasing is almost always a bad idea. And you kind of know it if you're doing it. And every now and then you're going to get lucky. It's just going to keep ripping. You might have been able to catch this here if you were really just anxious to get in. You ran into this little resistance here. We got a slight pullback, and then off we go. But my point is that you're reinforcing a bad habit. So the next time that happens, are you going to do it again and again and again? Sooner or later, that's going to bite you hard in the ass, and now you're kind of in that emotional state where you've been rewarded for an undisciplined trade, and so you're tempted to do it again. I will tell you, over the long term, that will work against you. So my broader point here is wait for the trade to set up the way you want to see it. There's so many things to trade right now. Of course, we all want to be participating in Bitcoin, but don't force a trade, because this thing can come down hard as well. Right now, it's incredibly technical. So we wait. No reason to, again, as I've said now multiple times. I'm repeating myself, I know. But I want to drive the point home. Wait for your trade, or wait for your pitch, right? That's how I, will often like to communicate it to you. Wait for it. Don't jump because you're just anxious to get in. All right, how am I? That's 15 minutes. Okay, that's a lot of rambling on Bitcoin. Okay, so I think I made the point here. Bottom line, I sure as hell wouldn't be looking for shorts in Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, though, that the strength of Bitcoin makes it very challenging for any alts to run with it. So a lot of failure trades that have just been hammered because of this move. So I'll be back with another video shortly, and we'll look at a few that are holding their own against Bitcoin today. Okay, that's it for now.